political leader of the United National Congress, who is viewing us this evening, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the best Prime Minister and the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Our colleagues in the House, in the den here this evening, our host, Member of Parliament. We heard him roar in the Parliament and we will hear him roar right here in Urupush East, Dr. Rudal Munilal. Our parliamentary colleagues joining us this evening, I see several of them. The MP for Couva South, MP Rudy Indar Singh, neighboring MP Dr. Lakram Bodo, MP Dr. Rashad Sicharan, my brother MP Arnold Ram. I see the chairman of our party as well, neighboring MP Dave Tanku. Several of our senators here this evening with us. Joining us is our dear sister, Senator Jayanti Lakshmidiyal. Several of our candidates in the next general election. I see Richard Smith taking home the seat of Aruka Maloney from the lady herself, Camille Robbins-Regis. Taking the seat of San Fernando West, none other than the educator, the man who brought Education City to the city of San Fernando, Dr. Michael Dowlat. Dr. Dowlat, our young, hard-working entrepreneur brother who took the Marabella South seat for the very first time for the United National Congress. Give it up for Macamillion, John Michael Alibokas. Brothers and sisters, so many of you I see from the local government fraternity here this evening. It will be remiss of me if I do not recognize the mayor of Faizabad, the indomitable, the outspoken, Dudnath Meru. Mayor, are you here with us? I saw also the chairman of the Princestown Regional Corporation, the hardworking, the effervescent Gauri Rupnarayan, and I take the opportunity to also recognize my own constituents joining us from the constituency of Princestown. I thank you for joining us this evening on the pavement. And we cannot forget the young, the industrious Mayor of Chaguanas, Mayor Faik Mohammed. May I take a bow for the hard work you're doing in the borough of Chaguanas. Many of our brothers and sisters in the local government fraternity, we pay our respects. Brothers and sisters of the United National Congress all. That was a very extensive list. But it goes to show that we appreciate you and we appreciate your efforts. Because as Saddam has told you tonight, tonight's crowd is a mammoth crowd. It is one of the largest pavement reports we have had. And this signals the strength of the United National Congress going into the general election of 2025. The 19 members of Parliament of the United National Congress. We found ourselves in the Parliament from 1:30 yesterday to about 11 o'clock last night. And leading the charge from the front was a political leader, speaking first on the presidential statement regarding the state of emergency. She then spoke on the regulations for the state of emergency. And then at about 10:30 last night, standing up in the Parliament, battling the Rottweiler, the raging bull himself, was none other than Kamla Prasad Bisesa for a third time, demonstrating her commitment to fighting and standing in the gap for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight, I can tell you safely, we in the UNC don't have to ask nobody who is our leader. We know damn well who is our leader. Our leader comes from no other constituency, and don't let anybody fool you. Our leader comes from the neighboring constituency of Separia. Separia, are you here tonight? Brothers and sisters, the representation that we saw yesterday in the parliament is nothing new to us. The political leader demonstrated her strength, she demonstrated her tenacity, and she demonstrated her wisdom in terms of being able to point out the fundamental differences as it relates to what is our position with respect to the state of emergency and extending the state of emergency powers that the government took upon themselves yesterday for an additional 3 months. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, our choice is very clear. In this election, we, the UNC, our political leader, our members of parliament, our senators, our party officials, what do we represent? What do we represent to the people and the population of Trinidad and Tobago going into this general election? We represent stability, we represent experience, and we represent competence. We are not the young and the useless. We are the United National Congress. And when the UNC wins, everybody wins. Now, the government started off this year, 2025, with distraction. They have been reeling, and let us draw minds back to what occurred in December of 2024. It was after from the runaway crime, from the economy being in shambles. Tonight I want to deal with issues, and one has to do with the pension bill. Now, the political leader told you one of the clauses in that pension bill says that if you had $25,000 or more, you will be disqualified and they will take away pension from you. But there's another clause in that pension bill that I want to draw to your attention. And it is clause 14. Clause 14 in the pension bill says that they will monitor your travel arrangements if you are out of the country. But that throws my mind back to when they came with the amendment to the Data Protection Act in 2022, Jayanti. I see Jayanti smiling because she remembers it. The opposition in the Senate raised at that time that in the Data Protection Act, they were cherry-picking which sections they wanted to proclaim. And the opposition, again standing in the gap for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, said you could not select parts of the act that gives you the power to go into immigration from the Ministry of Social Development to get people's travel records to see how long they were out of the country, where they were going, and macroing their business. Well, with their simple majority, the government proclaimed at the end of 2022 parts of the Data Protection Act that today, when you read clause 14 of the pension bill, and listen, the political leader told them in the parliament yesterday, ahead of the parliament, she told them, withdraw the bill. Do you know that the bill remains on the order paper? As it stands right now, the bill is on the order paper. So that tells you that they have no intention. The AG jumped out of his hole 7. He told us he will be withdrawing the bill. Up to today, the bill remains on the order paper. They have not removed the bill from the order paper. And that is why we can tell you that's not armor, that is lie more. Lies, lies, and more lies. And that is why we draw to your attention, brothers and sisters, what you can expect going into the last few months of this government being in office. The second issue that I want to raise with you this evening has to do with the timing. The timing of Prime Minister Rowley's announcement of his impending departure. Now, he came in January, the first week, and he told us he's going. Then when pressed by the media in terms of asking for a timeline, He said, well, he had a CARICOM meeting in February. And when he come back from CARICOM, you all remember there was something called the Salary Reviews Commission report that the government accepted in December? You all remember that? When Rowley gave himself $87,000? When in the last pavement report, I spoke in the last pavement report in 2024, I dared the government and I dared our own members of parliament, because I could talk for 14. I don't know where the next 5 was going. But I will repeat to you what I said in the last pavement report of 2024. I told the Prime Minister, I said, don't back. Bring the report to the Parliament and allow all 41 members of Parliament to debate the report. Let all 41 members stand up in the Parliament in front of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and say, what is your position? Whether or not you want the back pay, you want the salary increase, or you don't want it. Well, what was the government's response? Rowley came and he said, well, listen, we are not bringing no report to be debated to the Parliament. Instead, the Minister of Finance will issue a circular. He will issue a circular. And that is how they will bring into effect the $87,000 a month salary for the Prime Minister. Now, I want to tell you this. Whether or not Stuart Young serves 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months as Prime Minister of this country, how it works is that he will receive $87,000 a month for the rest of his life. Because what happens is that your pension as a Prime Minister does not start like members of Parliament when you are 55 years old. It starts automatically when you demit the office of Prime Minister. I want you all to understand that very clearly. At any age, once you demit the office of Prime Minister, you are entitled to the $87,000 a month. And Stuart Young, if he serves 1 day or 6 months, he will be entitled to that. Now you might ask yourself, where are you going with all of this? I told you about the timing of the Prime Minister's announcement. I want to ask the Prime Minister from this platform tonight whether or not it is true that the administrative arrangements have not been made because there's a process to be followed, and that the administrative arrangements will only be completed at the end of February. At the end of February, for the Prime Minister and the government to receive the new salary of $87,000 a month. And that is why you're hemming and you're hawing from exiting the office of Prime Minister. Come out and tell us that it is no trip to Barbados to meet Mia Motley. Instead, it is your own selfish greed that you are seeking your own personal interests. And that is why he's giving himself the leeway, the time of December gone. He holding on in January. He waiting for February because he knows at the end of February, the administrative arrangements will be completed. And that is when the new salary will come into effect. And he is only going to demit office when he could pocket that $87,000 riding the back of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Brothers and sisters, Saddam told you, Michel told you, Maka told you, that it is not Rowley, it is all must go. Tonight I want to point out one person in this audience. One. Somebody who could tell you, not as a politician, but who can tell you as a wife and a mother, the pain, the heartache, the turmoil that Stuart Young put her through and put her family through by keeping her husband in a pipeline for 4 days. And that is none other than our own counselor, Vanessa Kusi. Vanessa stands here with her 5-year-old who asks every single day, when is daddy coming home? not knowing where she's going to be able to buy books for her child to go to school. That pain and that heartache never goes away. And Vanessa can tell you, when she stood in that boardroom, the callousness, the hate, the spite that was meted out to her and the 5 other families who endured that pain and suffering. So don't take it from me. Don't take it from our political leader. You have a living example in our own party. And tonight, I want us to put our hands together and congratulate the political leader of the UNC for seeing the wisdom of putting a woman like Vanessa Kusi and the local government fraternity to stand up and speak on behalf of mothers, to stand up and speak on behalf of families who have lost their loved ones. Not a corporate manslaughter, that is murder. That is murder. And nobody could tell me in this country with a clear conscience that you can go and put Stuart Young as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. We must never forget in this country, when the Speaker of the House of Representatives puts on the parliamentary record, on the Hansard, the most disdainful description of a member of parliament for talking about Zami. Stuart Zami Young must never be allowed to be the Prime Minister of this country. And when he goes up, when Rowley coronates him and anoints him, and Christine Kangaloo goes and gives him the Bible to swear on, the country must have in their mind that you have a mother, you have a daughter, you have a wife, you have an aunt, you have a political leader who is a woman, the first woman Prime Minister in this country. That when he stands up and he says, I, Stuart Young, in your mind, he shouldn't say, I, Stuart Richard Young. He should say, I, Stuart Zami Young. Because that is what the children from infants to the grannies in this country will remember. And brothers and sisters, they have taken bread out of the mouths of the people of this country. They have overseen the bloodshed of over 5,000 citizens. But is this the example of someone that you want for your children, for your daughters? We can stand proud in this party and say we have given to this country the first female Attorney General. With distinction, we have given to this country the first female Prime Minister with distinction. What have they given? What are they giving to the people, to the women of this country? They are giving the most disrespectful, intolerable, disdainful man who will ever hold the office. They used to say Chambers was Dauncey. This one just simply dirty and nasty. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, we are on our way to victory. We have told you, when the UNC wins, everybody wins. Tonight, I can tell you with certainty that we will form the government in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. We have the people, we have the plan, we have the policy, we have the political leader, and we have the political will to make the changes that are necessary to bring about the change that is much needed in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Long live the United National Congress. Long live our political leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa. Forward ever, backward never. Forward ever, backward never. I thank you.